children, right, Grace?
Yeah, it's Carol Markowitz wrote about this today in the New York Post. It's like this mentality that we're going to have a forever pandemic, and we shouldn't be even considering doing that. It's ridiculous. If you get the vaccine, you don't have to wear the mask anymore. I mean, am I crazy?
Right. I've gotten the vaccine, Grace. I got an early start. I stopped wearing the mask long before I got the vaccine. But now, how can they even, come after me? How can these Karens still come after me if I don't wear a mask? I carry the card with me.
And it's just, it really takes away the incentive. And it's this, I've noticed this, Howie, every day when I go on the computer and I look at the articles that are out there, it's like they want to hit you over the head with this idea that this is our life now, and this is the new normal, and this is all we're ever going to have. Like,
and they make it out like it's World War II. They make it out like it's World War II.
Right. And then I think back.
This would be it's like World War II if there weren't really any Nazis or any Japanese out there. Or there were three of them on each coast, and they mobilized the entire country. It's ridiculous.
I think about back to when they first said 15 days to flatten the curve, and people that I know who were like very normal, conservative Trump supporters were all on board with the 15 days. Everybody was like, okay, we didn't really know what it was going to be. And everybody was saying, I can stay inside for 15 days. I don't want to put people at risk. But I wonder now, like, when I look back, if people could do it over, I think people would say, nope, right from the start. Nope. This is insane. Not doing this.
Grace, do you ever remember me? Grace, do you ever remembering me saying, yeah, this looks like a good idea for 15? Do you ever remember me saying that?
No, but Howie, not everyone is as wise as you are. Okay.
I don't know if wise is the right word. Cynical, I think, is more the appropriate word.
Well, what's another thing that's happening? You talk a lot about grim milestones and things like that, words that go out of style. So Stephen Miller at Red Steez on Twitter, he does this thing now where every time there's a story about Joe Biden, he will, whether it's about the Mario Kart or the fireplace, he'll tweet it out and he'll say, since Joe Biden took office, 79,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. Think about that. And then he'll compare it to world events and he'll say, this is shameful. We cannot look away. So one of these reporters, the left-wing reporters, tweeted it out and said, this is really gross stuff, because he was comparing it to like the World Trade Center and stuff. And he retweeted that guy's old tweet where the guy said, a 9/11 worth of Americans is dying each day right now, Mike Pompeo. So everyone was getting so mad at Stephen Miller, right. And they were like, it's not funny. It's not funny. And every single reporter who was getting mad at him and trying to, yell at him on Twitter, he would retweet an old tweet where they said basically the same thing. Right.
Well, it's like Louis Gohmert. Remember that? When he was quoting Nancy Pelosi about basically riots were good things. And everybody's saying, how dare he? He must be expelled instantaneously from the House of Representatives. Right. And he was quoting Nancy Pelosi, whom, of course, they adore.
Right. No, exactly. Speaking of Nancy Pelosi, Howie, do you think we'll get those? They're asking her a lot of questions. Representative Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes, they sent her a letter asking about what happened at the Capitol and why she.
Well, that's when the plan to call witnesses evaporated on Saturday, right? They said the first witness we're going to call out of 301 is going to be Nancy Pelosi, and we're going to ask her about the 10,000 troops that President Trump supposedly offered her to protect the Capitol. And that was the end of the plan to call witnesses. Just that one single statement alone.
It would have been like a scene from A Few Good Men. She would have been like, what's his face? Jack Nicholson?
Yes.
When he gets so angry, you can't handle the truth. That would have been Nancy. She's known to have a tantrum.
Well, she had a tantrum after the vote. And I think part of it was that she wanted to keep the gag going for another few weeks, but then they called her out on it, and she had to fold immediately. She threw in her hand and left the table. And if it was a poker game.
It cracks me up because every single time Trump sneezed, they would have an investigation and they would say, it's our patriotic duty to defend democracy and get to the bottom of this, whatever it was, whether his shoe was untied or whatever. And now this is a question that a lot of people want to know, which is if they asked for help, why did you reject the offer? And she's never going to answer that question.
2 words, Grace, move on.
MoveOn.org.
MoveOn.org. Just that goes back to Clinton days. Clinton lied under oath. So what? He was only lying about sex. Wait a second. He signed the bill to make it a crime to lie about sex in a job workplace case. Move on. Move on. No one ever goes to jail for lying in a civil case. Well, actually, there are 113 people in jail for lying right now about move on. Haven't you got anything better to do? He's about the business of this country. Where are my cigars?
I think that Jen Psaki has a new moveon.org, and that is, it was a historic day. Anytime someone questions me about something or tries to have a debate, I say, excuse me, it was a historic day. I was celebrating. Thank you. Howie, by the way, speaking of the National Guard, they're saying now that the National Guard could stay in D.C. until the fall. This comes out of Breitbart. Absolutely ridiculous. Their response to Christina Wong, who's a Breitbart reporter, was, for additional requirement information, we would refer you to the requesting agencies. But she was asking them basically, like, why are these guys still here?
Did you see Byron York today? That was great what he did.
The whole piece about the questions he wants answered?
Right. They brought Byron York, the guy, you've seen him on Fox. He works for the Washington Examiner, I think. And he you know what we do sometimes? He filed a list of FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests of the Capitol Police. And he said, how many guns did you confiscate from the insurrectionists during the insurrection?
Howie, I'll read you the questions I have right here. How many Capitol Police officers were injured in the riot? What were their injuries? What is their condition now? Did Capitol Police confiscate any firearms from rioters? If so, how many and what types? What is the status of the investigation into the killing of Officer Sicknick? Is there an autopsy report for Officer Sicknick? If so, will it be released to the public?
Why was his body cremated so quickly after his death? If there was an ongoing criminal investigation?
What is the status of the investigation into the shooting of Ashley Babbitt? Has it been ruled a justifiable shooting? Who was the officer who shot Babbitt?
That's what I want to know.
And then the last two, which you just mentioned, did any other officers discharge firearms during the rioting? If so, under what circumstances? And did any rioters discharge any firearms during the rioting? If so, under what circumstances?
How about this one? Some of the insurrectionists said that they were guided into the Capitol by the Capitol Police, that the doors were open and they were waved into the building. Is that indeed a fact? As video would seem to indicate it is.
Right. Guys, Grace's News is brought to you by Toyota of Portsmouth, the house of value. I absolutely love my new RAV4 XLE. I really do love it. I mean, it just drives. Howie, not all of us are in Palm Beach right now, and the roads here are not as pristine as they are in PB. And they're a little icy and a little salty. And I like being in a car that I know is safe and I feel good driving it. Toyota of Portsmouth has a huge, sparkling, clean showroom and an incredible staff. They are located just south of the Portsmouth traffic circle off 95. Go to toyotaofportsmouth.com or visit them at the showroom and tell them Grace sent you. Howie, I have two stories here. One I read earlier today, but I did want to get your take on it. They kind of go together. Bill Gates says all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef. You can get used to the taste difference. I want your take on that because I
saw that headline and my only thought was, Bill, you can get used to the taste of it for both of us. Okay. Yeah. And I'll stick with my beef. I did I tell you this yesterday, Grace? There was a small story. It didn't get nearly enough play in the Wall Street Journal about a week or so ago. Gates has bought in. He's one of the major partners in this consortium of billionaires who are spending $4.7 billion to buy the world's largest private jet company.
Hey, MoveOn.org. Give us your hamburger.
Yeah, but how does that... if he's so concerned about climate change, why is he buying control of a private jet company? I don't think it's to blow up the jets on the runway. No, so that Leonard DiCaprio can't have one the next time he needs to go to Denver to get a milkshake. First of all,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo, whatever the hell his name is.
Leonard DiCaprio. And also, I
call him Lenny.
I hope that if he's buying up all these private jets, that he's replacing them with rowboats so that when he wants to go to Hawaii or one of his homes, he can just rowboat there. And Howie, on a separate note, kind of in the same vein, though, Nestle to launch a new vegan version of its Kit Kat bar. So they're coming for your hamburgers, and now they're coming for your chocolate.
I wasn't aware that there was meat in Kit Kats.
Well, it's milk chocolate, right? So it's from a cow.
Yeah. So Howie, vegan is a little bit more extreme than vegetarian, or as you like to call it, vegan. I wonder if Leonard DiCaprio is a vegan. And lastly, Howie, if I can leave you with one more thing here. There's a news story out of Politico, and I thought you'd enjoy the headline. GOP tries to weaponize pandemic-exhausted parents against Biden.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You're part of that. You're part of the weaponizing.
Weaponize.
Pouncing, seizing.
They are. They're pouncing. GOP pounces on the fact that more Americans think that the pandemic is somewhat overplayed as a national disaster.
And Howie, did you also, speaking of that, I know I keep saying last story, but Biden and Governor Cuomo were at the White House and they did not discuss the COVID nursing home scandal.
Well, why would they? Is the New York Times discussing it?
I wonder if they played Mario Kart.
Is the New York Daily News discussing it? Not very much, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing when the Democrats in the legislature in Albany are more concerned with this scandal than the New York Times, whose motto is all the news that's fit to print.
Yeah, well, you saw that survey that came out yesterday about the New York Times that like half the staff doesn't feel comfortable saying their actual opinions. That's not really the environment you want to foster at a newspaper. Like every employee is scared to say what they actually think.
I got that right in front of me. About half of New York Times employees said in a recent internal survey they don't believe they can speak freely at the paper.
Tolerance. Thanks, Howie.
All right. Thank you, Grace. 844-500-4242. February is recognized as American Heart Month, but talking about supporting heart health isn't enough. Nearly half of all U.S. adults have heart health concerns. Heart disease still kills more Americans than any other malady, even cancer. And we all have members of our family that have suffered from heart disease or been killed by it. One thing you could do to help keep your heart to take Super Beats Heart Chews daily. Just 2 Super Beats Heart Chews per day give you the cardiovascular support and promote the heart healthy energy you need every single day. Super Beats Heart Chews combines non-GMO beets and clinically researched grapeseed extract shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. In addition to a healthy diet and exercise, supplementing your efforts with Super Beats Heart Juice to your daily routine is an easy decision to make to support healthy blood pressure.
These taste
and heart
so
health.
good, Howie. I mean, you'd be crazy not to try them. They're delicious. They don't taste like beets at all. I like beets, and I wouldn't mind the taste of beets.
I don't.
These taste delicious.
No, they don't taste like beets, in my opinion. You take 2 a day. They're in foil. They're easy to take. Just stick them in your pocket or your pocketbook, whatever you got, and have them whenever you feel like you need a boost of energy. I take 1 in the morning and 1 during the show. I just took 1 during the last break, and they make me feel better. It's a nice, healthy way, and it gives you a good taste, makes you less likely to take some snack that's not as good for you. And now when you buy a bag of Super Beats Heart Chews, you can get a second one for 50% off plus free shipping when you make the purchase at superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's superbeatsradio.com/Howie. superbeatsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you